It's June 5th, 2018. My name's Eric Haluzik with All Corners Inspections. This is the exterior evaluation for 245 Northeast 10th Street in Newport, Oregon. As with all the videos in this report, we request that you view this video for the most complete evaluation of the exterior portion of this structure. At the time of inspection, there were a significant number of challenges with this single-family home. We'll do our best to detail these here in this counterclockwise lap, starting at the numbers at the front portion of the house and ending at the numbers at the front portion of the house. The first challenge we'll identify is that we have at quite a few locations around the exterior of the structure vegetation, which is making direct contact with the structure. This will allow for direct direct access for wood-destroying insects to gain access to the interior portion of the framing and possibly into the interior portion of the living structure. Nearly all of the window trim around the perimeter of the structure is in poor condition. We'd recommend removal of the existing rotten trim and evaluation of the framing behind, because when trim gets to be in this sort of condition, it's entirely possible that the areas behind could also be affected as well. Turn the corner now to the right-hand side, or the first right-hand side portion of the structure. We can actually note a small run of what appears to be framing that's exposed to soil there at the right-hand side, about 6 feet back from the right front corner. Got a crawl space access at that location there, and we also have vegetation which is also making contact with the structure, as we noted before. Got the gas meter here at this location. Fascia and Soffit are also in poor condition. The fascia is the material that is facing the front of the structure, or the back of the structure, and it's in this case it's the material to which the gutters are attached. And the soffit material is, you can imagine, it would be the brim of the hat. If the roof is the cap of the hat, then the soffit is the brim of the hat. We have an area of soffit which is currently deteriorated, and we can see to the interior portion of the structure. We believe that there were probably birds nesting on the interior portion of the structure at the time of inspection. Turning the corner to the front of the house now, the garage trim work is in decent shape, except for the right-hand side of the upper portion of the garage door and the lower portion of the right-hand side leg. We have firewood stacked adjacent to the structure. This will also encourage wood-destroying insects to gain access to the entire interior portion of the structure in areas where they would normally not be interested. We've got a portion of siding both at the front as well as this immediate right-hand side of the structure, which is also damaged, and we can see areas where the fasteners, in this case nails, are actually in poor condition and are weeping oxidation through the surface. We also have a portion of fascia here at the right front corner of the garage, which is also in poor condition and currently rotted. The bottom portion of siding here, starting at the second course, about 8 feet back from the right front corner, is deteriorated, and then we're seeing a similar condition all the way back to the right rear corner, where the sort of utility / storage room is. So the entire sort of bottom foot of all this siding here is periodically in poor condition and is dry rotted at a number of locations. We have a door here on the right-hand side of this utility space, which is improperly installed. There's no flashing preventing water from making direct access into the interior portion of the structure. We'd recommend evaluation and repair for this, as well as all noted items by a licensed contractor. Got improperly attached corner flashing here at the right rear corner, and then personal possessions, which are currently hiding any evaluation of this portion of the structure. Even though this belongs in, the next note will belong in the roof portion of the evaluation, and we made note of it in the roofing evaluation, there's no L flashing or drip edge, either at the gutter line or at the gable lines. L flashing would tuck in underneath the current course of roofing material and would extend down onto the fascia material, protecting the both the roof sheathing as well as roofing material for water that would creep its way underneath. We'd highly recommend removing the existing roof, evaluating all the structure underneath, and then repairing as necessary. This rear portion of the structure is affected by dry rot. This west-facing side, both the window trim as well as siding periodically is in poor condition. The right-hand side entrance to this storage room, trim work is also dry rotted, both the right as well as left-hand side legs. We'll also make a note at this time that the enclosed patio was framed improperly, where the siding meets the floor. There's no flashing preventing water from working its way to the interior portion of the structure. There's really no way of knowing what the current quality and condition of the interior framing is because of the poor construction techniques used at this location. At very least, having a portion of flashing run up behind the first course of siding and then down onto this lip would allow for water to run organically off and then away from the structure. As it is now, water can currently work its way back inside the structure, become trapped there, and then start affecting the framing on the interior portion of the wall, which has never been intended to be exposed to prolonged periods of moisture. Got trim work here at this, both the right as well as left-hand side legs of this window trim, which are rotten, and then a soffit which is open to the interior at this low-sloped roof for this sort of patio or porch enclosure. The fixed portion of this sliding glass door has also been breached, meaning that at the time of inspection we would highly recommend having this window as well as the operable as well as inoperable portions replaced. Again, sort of a continuation of that poor building technique here. The sliding glass door trim at the left-hand side here is also badly rotted. At all the areas where we are noting rotten materials, we'd highly recommend, again, getting those areas evaluated by a licensed contractor to make sure that we have framing which is unaffected behind. Again, window trim, which is affected by dry rot, and a continuation again of that poor building technique, allowing for water to make its way into the interior portion of the structure. We've got fascia board here at this inside corner on the left-hand side, which is badly deteriorated. Should also note that this sort of siding is suspect for asbestos. This sort of rigid material has the telltale signs to the trained eye of a siding material which is very likely asbestos in nature. Asbestos, when left alone, is typically not a hazard, but once you start working with it, creating dust, then it becomes quite a hazard, especially to those folks that have respiratory issues or the infirm, young, or old. You've got deterioration to the flashing at more or less every corner of the structure. We've got badly rusted flashing here at the left rear corner, but it's not isolated to this location either. Again, vegetation adjacent to the structure, as well as soffit material, soffit boards which are open to the interior and currently leaking water into the interior portion of the structure. Turning the corner to the left-hand side of the house now, we've got badly rotted trim work at this window. And a crawl space access here on the left-hand side, which is currently blocked, at least partially, by water line. We require having at least an 18 by 24 inch access into the interior portion of the crawl space to allow for ease of access and safe access for any workers that are inside of the structure. The left-hand side window trim is also in poor condition, and the fascia boards are also in similar conditions as well. Make our way into the alcove area, into the interior sort of entryway area of the structure, where we note that gutters are badly or sort of detached from the structure and also in poor condition in need of replacement. The front entrance door trim work is on the right as well as left-hand side is badly rotted. We recommend replacement of that trim as well. That concludes the evaluation of 245 Northeast 10th Street in Newport, Oregon. This has been Eric Haluzik with All Corners Inspections.